Greetings, everyone, and welcome. It is July the 4th, 2025. Happy 4th of July to you Americans that are watching and for everyone around the world as we all fight for freedom and independence and what is right in Ukraine and other places. I do have a lot of breaking news for you today. Zalinsky and Trump have talked. Also, we have confirmation that China is 100% helping Russia in this war against Ukraine. You can see the thumbnail here and the title of the video. She wanting Taiwan. Thank you for helping Russia. And Donald Trump actually telling the truth. And that was no progress made with Putin, and Putin doesn't want to stop. So I have everything here for you, in addition to the massive strike on Ukraine, where it was obvious that even though we say and we hear there are air defense supplies good through the summer, it was very deficient over KYIV last night. 17 wounded as of right now. That number may have changed by the time I'm recording this. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, and commenting. Let's get right to it. I want to start first with, yes, Zalinsky and Trump have had a phone conversation this morning. It was very short. It was not an hour and a half, and it was not who hung up first. But this is a direct quote from Zalinsky and his team. A meeting of Ukrainian and U.S. teams will take place in the near future to discuss air defense supplies. That's Zalinsky himself quoting on the details of the conversation with Trump. Zalinsky called the conversation very important and useful. The dialogue focused on the situation on the front lines, the protection of Ukrainian skies, joint defense initiatives, and the U.S.'s peace efforts. The president of Ukraine emphasized that Ukraine stands for a decent deal for peace and is ready for concrete cooperation with the United States, in particular in the field of drone production and air defense systems. So a couple of things you learn from that is we know that the United States has hit the pause button on the supplies coming to Ukraine. That is a fact, no matter how they spin it. And now reports coming out today that it was actually Pete Hegseth that did that on his own and making his own decision, and it's not been rejected by the White House or adjusted. Additionally, Zalinsky putting in there, we want to partner together. We want to purchase air defense systems. We want to partner together economically in drone production. He said that President Trump is well aware of the situation. I told him, thank you for your attention to Ukraine, and we have agreed on a corresponding meeting of our teams in the future. So very little in that. But at least the call happened. Yesterday, Donald Trump stating twice. There was a morning statement and then an evening statement. He says, I'm disappointed with the conversation I had with Putin, and he's just not going to stop. And I think it's important for us to hear a couple of clips here, because it shares with us actually that for the first time in this situation, Donald Trump has spoken something that is true.
We had a call. It was a pretty long call. We talked about a lot of things, including Iran, and we also talked about, as you know, the war with Ukraine. And I'm not happy about that.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
No, I didn't make any progress with it today.
So there you have it. That is in the morning before he was heading out to his meetings and his rallies. Did you make any progress with Putin today? No, I didn't make any progress at all. Finally, truth about Ukraine coming out of Donald Trump's mouth. Now, I don't know what it was. 10, 12 hours later, late at night, he's coming back into D.C. He's questioned again, and here it is.
For Russia and Ukraine, are you speaking to Zalinsky tomorrow, and what are you hoping
I'm speaking to President Zalinsky tomorrow.
That's done.
Early in the morning.
Done.
And, I'm very disappointed with the conversation I had today with President Putin, because I don't think he's there. I don't think he's there. And I'm very disappointed. Well, it's not, I'm just saying, I don't think he's looking to stop. And that's too bad. This is Biden. This isn't me. This is Biden's war. It wouldn't have happened if I were president. It wouldn't have happened. So, I in one way I had to get too involved because it's Biden's war. And I got stuck in the middle of it, just like I did with immigration and a lot of other things that they screwed up. But I was not happy with the conversation, no.
So more truth coming out, and maybe it was just him speaking there out of his mind. Things were rattling past his subconscious because he point blank said it. Yeah, I'm calling Zalinsky tomorrow. No president in front of it. I don't think he said president in front of it. Maybe he did. Yep, bad call with Vladimir Putin. He doesn't want to stop. There's really nothing I can do about it. So, it's not my war. It's Biden's war. And I really don't want to be involved very much anymore. So it's not my war. So really, in those two clips that I have shown you, we're seeing the perspective of the Trump administration on top of the DOD and Pete Hegseth actions of pausing aid. This is what is unfolding. And what I have coming up in the rest of this update is only going to further confirm those things. So let's continue with it. Now, a guy you need to follow if you do not is Anton Gerhenko. He made a statement today, very powerful. He said, last night, Russia attacked Ukraine with about 550 aerial targets, 539 drones, Kinjal missiles, 6 ballistic missiles, 4 cruise missiles. Kyiv was the main target. It was a massive attack. I have so many photos and video, and it's just massive devastation. As of now, now it's 23 people injured by the attack. The massive Russian attack took place right after Putin talked with President Trump. In fact, I remember yesterday, basically when the phone call ended, is when the air alarm went off that the initial wave of shaheeds were in the air coming from Russia. Putin talked with President Trump, and obviously after that, this attack happened, and it was intentional. If an appropriate reaction, and this is what you need to focus on here, on top of DOD pausing weapons and Trump's 2 statements we just heard, if an appropriate reaction in the form of new sanctions and weapons to Ukraine doesn't follow, Putin will see that as an approval of further terror on Ukrainian civilians. So I would take it a step further from what Gerhenko says. Putin now has a limitless green light based off of the statements that Donald Trump made yesterday. I'm not happy. Putin doesn't want to stop. It's not my war. I can't do anything about it. Okay? And the DOD actions. I'll end that war in 24 hours. Oh, that was sarcasm. No, he doesn't want to end this war at all because it's not his war and he doesn't care about it now. It's pretty obvious to see. Let's continue. Now, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi was in the EU meeting with European leaders, KYIV and others, and guys coming back out of the South China Morning Post, an exclusive today that says China tells the EU it cannot afford a Russian loss in the Ukrainian war. Wang Yi tells EU diplomats Beijing fears a U.S. shift of whole focus to China if Russia loses the war. A little bit more detail here. Foreign Minister of China, Wang Yi, reportedly told KYIV that Beijing cannot afford that loss. Wang Yi, now this is where it gets good, categorically rejected accusations of financial or military support for Russia. He noted that if China were really helping Moscow, the war would have ended long ago. Wang Yi also stated that the Chinese statements to the EU were intended as an indirect statement to Washington, D.C. The U.S. needs to understand that Russia is not a threat to China. It is a good friend with common goals. This is why the thumbnail today, the title of the video, and everything that follows. Now, I'm going to put proof on top of this because the title says China is lying. And now I'm going to prove it to you. Today, after the massive strike on China, from Russia on Ukraine, we have proof that China is manufacturing parts for the Shahed drones. This is a picture from today. Today, Chinese-made components were discovered in the Geren Shahed, according to the SBU. Investigators of Security Services of Ukraine discovered components manufactured in the People's Republic of China in the Geren, which is the Russian version of the Iranian Shahed. This is evidenced by marking of the manufacturer, Suzhou Ecod Precision Manufacturing Company Limited, on the relevant parts. These components in particular, and also the mounts for the launch catapult, were removed from the drones with which the Russian occupiers attacked Ukraine capital on the night of July 3rd and the 4th. These are from today's attack. You can see the stamp, the QR code. You can see the Suzhou company, manufacturer. You can see the date. You can see the delivery date. It's all recent. The bottom, you can also see that's the mounting bracket that launches the Shahed. Ladies and gentlemen, China is helping. We all knew it and we all know it, but more and more proof. I just think it's so interesting that a day after China foreign minister says, we're not helping at all. Well, we want Russia to win, but we're not helping at all. We have this proof positive here. Now, I want to share with you guys a little clip from Beth Sanner. And I don't know her, but she is CNN national security analyst. And the reason I'm showing this video clip is because she makes a statement, but she has the resume to back it up. And why do I say that? This is actually a screenshot of her giving analysis about Russia's invasion and war in Ukraine. The third week, early March 2022. Here we are, July the 4th, 2025. She still does the same job, the same place. She's been analyzing this war every day for years. She has a voice and an understanding, and here's her comment.
It's a consistent pressure. I mean, if you look back, and I have, along with Cedric here, if you look back at every time that he said, stop Vladimir, or made a call, he strikes. Putin strikes again within the next day. I mean, the worst thing, I get why this administration wants to keep the dialogue open, but Putin responds every time with a finger.
Right.
And at some point, I mean, if I were in Ukraine, I'd be like, stop calling President Putin because it rains missiles down on us.
Perfectly stated. And she said, I've been watching this for a long time, and I validated it to you from that screenshot from 3 weeks into the war. And she has worked at various levels of national security. She said, listen, if I was Ukraine, I would just tell them, stop calling Putin, because every time, and she historically laid it out. So we see that there is a pattern to the Trump call to Putin, or the Putin call to Trump, followed by an immediate strike. And really, when it comes down to it, all it is Putin pushing the envelope to make sure he continues to get the green light from Trump. That's what it is. Now, let's take this one a step further, because this is Ratislau Sikorski. He is the Polish foreign minister. You can see his picture there. I'm also including one image. This was Kyiv early this morning burning. This is how large the strikes were. He states, massive Russian attack last night has caused fires and much damage, including to the Polish consulate in Kyiv. President Trump, Putin is mocking your peace efforts. Please restore supplies of anti-aircraft ammunition to Ukraine and impose tough new sanctions on the aggressor. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we're at. Now we're getting damage in Kyiv to the Polish consulate, and a direct call out from the Polish foreign minister. Your peace efforts are being mocked. But I think we go back to the videos that we started this update with from Donald Trump himself. I think he's walking out the door. I could be wrong, but it sure sounds like to me now he's reverting back to it's Biden's war, and I've got to focus on other things. I think that's where we're headed. Now, let some of the propaganda games begin. The last three things I have for you. Lavrov sending this big, actually it was this big pretty letter to Marco Rubio for July 4th. He says, I look forward to our collaborative efforts further enhancing bilateral relations in a constructive direction. I take this opportunity to wish the American people to follow the path of peace and prosperity. That's from Foreign Minister to the Secretary of State, Rubio. Now, after Putin and Trump's call yesterday, massive attacks on Ukraine, Trump's really negative statements in that he can't move the needle with Putin and it's Biden's war and I got other things to focus on. We begin to get Team Trump, Team MAGA ripping. This is 2 tweets from Representative Anna Paulina Luna. She is loony. Sorry. Sorry, Paulina Luna, but your statements are very loony. You have sipped the Kremlin's poison and you just don't even know it. So she is pushing this narrative, and this is just the beginning, guys. After this call and this big strike and Trump's statements on that tarmac in the morning and the evening, this is what you're going to continue to see. I will not vote for more Ukraine funding. Zalinsky canceled the elections. Sources say U.S. weapons are being sold on the black market. What sources? He disrespected our president and vice president. No, he didn't. Billions have been laundered there. Where's the proof? They put American journalists on a blacklist. They put Russian propagandists who are American journalists paid by the Kremlin on a blacklist. Man, I need to get her on here and have a little debate. Peace is the only option. No. Peace through victory is the only option, not capitulation. That does not happen by giving them more weapons. Oh, and then she continues. Zalinsky banned the Orthodox Church. That is a lie. I can promise there will be no weapons funding for you at Zalinsky. Negotiate for peace. We are not your piggy bank. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see a whole lot more of that. And that is why it is important that we stand together and we fight grassroots efforts. The coalition of the willing, as it has been called. So much pressure now coming on the European Union and other nations, and we will stand because I promise you, Zalinsky in Ukraine is standing. They're fighting for their very survival and future. And I still believe victory and the best is yet to come. You guys have a great day. Be blessed. There is a lot going on, and we'll be back at you.